Rain poured down in relentless sheets, drumming against the cracked sidewalks and splattering in the shallow puddles that glistened under the dim, yellow glow of the streetlights. It was past midnight in downtown Chicago, and the streets were almost completely deserted. The occasional sound of tires hissing on wet asphalt echoed through the emptiness. But otherwise, the city felt abandoned, like a film set after the crew had gone home. Ethan Bell pulled the collar of his jacket higher, shivering as another gust of wind cut through him. His shift at the restaurant had run late, and the trains were delayed again. With no patience left to wait on a freezing platform, he decided to walk the 20 minutes to his apartment. He regretted it almost immediately. The city felt wrong tonight. As he passed the old commercial district, the buildings loomed over him, their brick walls dark with decades of grime. Storefronts were locked and dark, except for the flicker of a neon liquor sign down the block, buzzing faintly in the rain. The streets here narrowed, and Ethan found himself walking past the mouths of several dark alleys. That's when he saw him. At first, Ethan thought it was just a shadow, the way the light from the street lamp bent around the corner. But then it moved, slowly, deliberately. A man stood halfway in the darkness of the alley, wearing a long black coat that dripped with rainwater. His face was hidden beneath the shadow of a hood, but Ethan could make out a pale chin and a hint of a thin, crooked smile. Ethan kept walking, his pace quickening. He didn't make eye contact, but his skin prickled as he realized the man had stepped out of the alley and was following him. The sound was subtle at first, the gentle splash of shoes in puddles, keeping pace just far enough behind. Ethan glanced over his shoulder, but the street seemed empty. Still, the sensation of being watched refused to fade. He told himself it was nothing, a coincidence, someone else heading the same direction. But when he turned a corner onto West Harlow Street, the man was there, standing under a flickering lamp 20 feet ahead, as if he'd been waiting. Ethan froze. His mind scrambled for logic, but there was no way the man could have gotten ahead of him without running past. And he definitely hadn't heard that. "Hey," Ethan called, forcing a shaky laugh. "Do you need something?" The man didn't answer. He just tilted his head slightly, as though studying him. Then he took a step forward. Ethan backed away, his pulse pounding. He turned sharply and crossed to the other side of the street, his shoes splashing through the water. When he dared to glance back, the man was gone. Relief washed over him for a moment. Maybe he'd imagined it. Maybe the guy just ducked into another alley. Then he heard it again. Footsteps, this time much closer. Ethan's walk turned into a jog. His apartment wasn't far now. He'd just get inside, lock the door, and this whole thing would be over. But as he reached his block, the sound of footsteps stopped entirely. Silence. The street was empty, except for the constant rain. No cars, no people. Not even the faint hum of the usual traffic in the distance. It was as if the city had gone completely still. Ethan's breath clouded in the cold air. He fumbled for his keys and turned toward the entrance to his building. That's when he saw him again, standing right under the awning, blocking the door. This time, Ethan could see more of the man's face, but the details didn't make sense. The skin was too pale, stretched too tightly over bone. The eyes were dark, but something moved behind them, like swirling smoke, and the smile. It was wider now, wrong in a way Ethan couldn't comprehend. The man didn't speak. He just stepped aside, gesturing toward the open door as if inviting Ethan inside. Every instinct screamed to run. But the street behind him felt even worse, like something waited there too. Ethan took one step toward the doorway, then another. The man leaned in slightly, his smile stretching further than it should, the corners of his mouth nearly reaching his ears. Ethan bolted. He sprinted down the block, his footsteps splashing wildly. He didn't look back until he reached the main avenue, where the streetlights burned brighter and the traffic noise returned in a sudden rush, as if the city had just woken up. There was no sign of the man, just the rain, just the empty streets. Ethan never took West Harlow Street again, but sometimes, late at night, he swears he still hears the footsteps, just behind him keeping pace.